What's up, people? This is Nate here.
It's Kev.
2/3 of the super group that is GamesMusicLyfe, and we're back in a review for this J.I.D album titled The Never Story. Never Story.
Never Story.
What in the world do we know about this guy?
Listen, might be an industry plant.
He might be.
Coming up under Dreamville Records.
Yeah, I had it written down too. I said, might be a plant with a question mark. Atlanta artist. That's the only thing I know about him. I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah, and had I not read about it, I would have never guessed he was an Atlanta artist. So.
Right, no doubt. All right, man, so let's get into it, man. So like I said, we didn't really know much about this project going in. Shout out to my man in the comments. I forget your name. I'm sorry. I'm not going to look you up for putting it out to us. We've been seeing his name a lot around, so we kind of knew he's on the radar, so that's why we thought he might be a plant. He might be here to get somebody out of here.
Yeah.
But let's just see if he can do it, man. All right, man. So he's a Dreamville artist. Track 1, Doo-Wop. It's a short track, he's crooning on it, kind of short, but decent way to intro the album. I don't have much written on this. This is a short track.
Yeah, man, for me, I just wrote just an intro, nothing to see here. Hey, moving right along.
Moving to track 2, General.
Yeah.
What'd you think, bro?
Now, for me, man, this beat was pretty fire. It had a really grimy feel to it, and J.I.D goes all bars, no hook, as he paints a picture of his life and him coming up and, trying to navigate his way through, which for him, I actually thought that was really dope, especially since this is not an artist that I was already familiar with. Kind of gave me an idea of who he was, or, kind of set the table for me in a manner of speak for the rest of the album. So I thought that was a good introduction for him.
Okay. No doubt, man. It was kind of a West Coast throwback beat, in my opinion, with a twang guitar and some slow drums. J.I.D rhymes from two perspectives, using two different voices, kind of going back and forth between the two voices. Reminded me of kind of a Kendrick vibe a little bit with the voices. But I thought it was a decent track.
I feel you.
Okay. So leading to track 3, Never. It was a dope, slow down beat with heavy bass and transitions into an upbeat track. J.I.D's flowing on this track, man. I thought it was okay. I thought it was very good, especially on the second part. After the transition, he was doing it, man. I thought he was really flowing very well on this one. I was a fan of this track.
I feel you. With it, first thing that kind of popped out for me was, J.I.D came out swinging. 32 bars for both of the verses on here, which, just shows you that he's trying to be the rapper's rapper, you know what I'm saying? Not giving you 16s, but going all in. For me on this song, this is where I thought that his influences were very apparent. Like you said, gives you a lot of a Kendrick vibe. He also gave me a lot of a Lil Wayne vibe on here. And throughout the album, he actually reminded me a bit of Missy. And it's the weirdest thing, and that's no disrespect, because Missy was a dope MC. If you're too young to remember, go back and check her catalog, man. Put the fact that she made fun songs aside, she really made dope music. So hearing that in him, I thought was dope. The beat was minimal, but that was in a great way, in my opinion. It had some faint horns in the backgrounds, and it had a really thumping bass line, which fit well. So I love the energy and the pacing.
Dope. Okay, no doubt, man. So leads into track 4, Ed, Ed, and Eddie. What'd you think, man?
First thing I noticed is the scenario sample that's playing in the background there. It takes center stage on this track. J.I.D's telling the story about him. It's really kind of a loose story of himself and two of his buddies. How they were tight like Ed, Ed, and Eddie, getting into trouble, causing mischief. They had cool flows, but for me, there really wasn't much here on this track. I felt like the allure was supposed to be that he was rapping about Ed, Ed, and Eddie, that cartoon from back in the day. But it was just all right.
All right, man. So I thought it was the same thing, man. I mean, it slowed down jury beat. J.I.D is telling a story of him and two of his homeboys during the drug binges. Speaks on escapades of the trio, from crazy things to selling drugs to everything. Ed, Ed, and Eddie, if you don't remember, was a cartoon that came out back in the day that kind of looked like somebody was drunk drawing it, because it was horrible artistry, but it was just a funny cartoon. So I kind of get that vibe. I kind of saw what he was going through, because the minute when he talked about it, I envisioned that cartoon, envisioned all the kids look drunk on the cartoon. So I thought it was a decent track. Goes into track 5, Division, featuring Earth Gang. Another dreary but upbeat track. J.I.D rides the beat with some bars, man, on this one. I felt at this point I realized this guy can rap. This guy can really rap. From his delivery to the to the sounds, he sounds confident. I think a lot of newer artists, they lack that confidence. He sounded confident on this one. I still think it's Kendrick influenced on this one, man, which is not a bad thing. The feature does a decent job as well. The guitar is very infectious on this one. The last verse that J.I.D and the feature, they go back and forth, kind of throwback to Outkast, they almost sounded like to me. But I thought it went back in a dope way. This album got my attention at this point.
I feel you. I like the Outcast point out there. Now, first I want to say I don't even know who I am anymore because J. Cole did his thing with this beat. You know what I'm saying? The production was pretty solid on here. I felt like he wasn't trying to do too much or he didn't get too fancy, but he stayed with kind of an old school New York vibe on this track, and it really worked out well. Everybody turned in decent verses, in my opinion. A lot of times the homies suck, but Earth Gang didn't suck.
Yeah.
They were okay. They held.
Usually the homies do suck, man.
Especially when you're dealing with a rapper that I'm not going to say that J.I.D is at a super high caliber, but you can tell that he actually does take pride in the craft.
Right.
So when you've got a rapper like that, typically if they're just the homies, you'll have a little bit of a slacker somewhere in there. But I felt like everybody meshed well together, and with it was a decent track. Not super exciting, but decent.
Okay. So leading to track 6, Hereditary.
Yep.
What'd you think, bro?
Man, really smooth track. I really like the arrangement of the keys on here, man. J.I.D was showing how he can make R&B hits. For me, it was nothing new. It kind of sounded like all the other R&B songs that we hear now. It sounds like this would work for Bryson Tiller, Tory Lanez, and whoever else's new R&B guy, Nav or whatever.
Okay.
But it was still a solid offering. The fact that he was showing that he could do it, I thought was pretty cool.
Okay. I had wow written down, man. The piano, the bass guitar, had me in a choke on this one. J.I.D is singing on this one, and wow is all I can say, really. I wasn't expecting him to sing. I thought he was just a rapper. I didn't know he sung at all. It goes into, he's explaining to a female how Hereditary, basically leads into his actions, how he was messing up. This one caught me off guard. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a singer to sound this way like he did. Up to this point, this is probably my favorite track on the album. Going into this because, like I said, I didn't really expect the dude to sing. I didn't know he sung,
right? And
it caught me off guard. He actually held a good tone, and it was dope. I thought it was very dope. All right, man. So, leading to track 7, All Bad featuring Mariba.
Cool.
Another smooth track with J.I.D, singing, kind of piggybacks from the previous track. He's coming, he's coming clean about his relationship. He's coming clean on what he messed up on, and the feature is, definitely singing from a perspective of a female, of course. And she does her thing, and she kind of spins it on him, in a relationship that she wasn't as good as he thought she was either. And it kind of ends on a funny note. Well, not funny, but sad for him, but funny for us, that he wasn't expecting her to say what she said, and he don't know if he can handle it.
Right.
So, which I thought was very dope, man. So, what'd you think?
With it, man, for this, I thought it was a really smooth track, really smooth R&B track here. Finding J.I.D showing a bit of his vocal range, whereas Hereditary, I didn't really feel like he ventured out very far. On All Bad, I did think that he was flexing a little bit. He was flexing those vocals a little bit there.
Okay.
I thought that the songwriting on here was A1. I thought that he did a really good job penning this song, telling that story of a couple finding themselves, between a couple of hard truths and trying to come to terms with it.
Right.
This is a song that I do wish that maybe somebody else sang, just because it was so well written. I wish that we could have got somebody that really had a more powerful voice, but he still killed it. Kudos to him. All credit goes to him. This is a really good song.
Okay, no doubt, man. So leading to track 8, Underwear. Yeah. What'd you think, bro?
Man, the beat on this track was absolutely nuts. It's got these really elegant keys on there, man, with a really grimy drum and bass playing through. I felt like J.I.D's verses, they were a bit underwhelming on this track. They had like this weird line about Matthew McConaughey on there, and then they got that line where they're laughing because it's like, oh, you said underwear. It's like, yeah, it's not my favorite track on here as far as what he offered, but the beat again was nuts. I thought it was crazy. Okay,
we differ a little bit on this one, man. One thing about the beat though, it did sound similar to track 2. I haven't went back and listened to track 2 because it had that West Coast vibe, that throwback vibe on it, man. But it wasn't the same beat. I know on J. Cole's album he did that. He had the same beat on there twice, so I thought that was. J.I.D is back rapping on this one, man. He shows he can rap. Once again. He goes from rapping to singing to rapping again. I thought it was very dope how he did that. I thought he was talking as well. I mean, it was a silly track. The chorus kind of let you down a little bit. It definitely is like underwear, that whole part being funny. It kind of took it back to like a throwback the way, I forget who it was who did songs like that, who had that voice on there. But I thought it was a decent thing. I mean, as far as for that to be the only track on the album, I was like, I didn't really get that part. But I did like the guy. I mean, he's talented at this point. At this point, I realized, this dude's really talented. I really pointed that out to myself anyway. Okay. All right, man. So leading to track 9, 8701 featuring Black. A very short track, just under 2 minutes. Black starts singing and ushers in J.I.D as he raps. Black ends with the same intro as he did with the lyrics on the beginning. Even though it was a short track, he got a lot off in here, man. And to me, it kind of sounded like J.I.D was saying, I'm here. This is what I'm here. I want you guys to hear me. Black gives a good offering. Dope track, man.
I feel you. With it, although I really like the blues jazzy bass line on this track, I felt like the guitar on here was out of place, and it was kind of pulling me out of the vibe on this track. The verses to me were actually just decent. Nothing, nothing was trash there.
Okay.
But nothing really kind of hit me hard. It may have just been that guitar throwing me off my game, but for me, this song was just okay, but nothing groundbreaking.
Gotcha. Okay. No doubt, man. Leads in the track 10, Hood Booger.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Man, again, this beat was nuts. This beat was absolutely nuts on here. It's got these really grimy drums and these spaced out keys and synths that are just going to war back and forth. So I thought that was really dope. Again, for me, J.I.D's influences really stand out. The second verse on here sounds like vintage Wayne, in my opinion.
Okay.
Altogether, I thought that the track came together really well. It was cool.
Okay, no doubt, man. It's funny you say Wayne too. I never looked at that angle, and I can see that now. All right, man. So on this one, man, had a dreamy beat with a heavy bass drop, which was very epic to me. J.I.D is going to, basically talking about a hood chick, aka Hood Booger. Another short track, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but he got a lot off in that 2 minutes 30 seconds on this one, which I thought was very impressive. For it to be a short track, but it's memorable. You knew what he was talking about. He fit the theme of the track. I'm sorry, dope track. That was okay. All right, leading to track 11, Somebody. It was an upbeat kind of Tribe Called Quest vibe, man. J.I.D is delivering some good bars, kind of. This is the story of my story track of the album. For it to be every, freshman offering people give, you always have that. This is my story track. This was his, my story track, in my opinion. J.I.D paints a picture of his story from words of wisdom from Cole to a phone call he had with his mom as she told a funny story of his childhood. Kind of typical for a debut album. I thought he pulled it off very well. It was decent.
I feel you, man. You hit the nail right on the head, man. The track had a jazzy Tribe Called Quest vibe. That's literally what I had written down. You know what I'm saying? J.I.D, was riding against the beat effortlessly. Like, I mean, the boy can rap.
He can.
You know what I'm saying? If nothing else that you take from this project, dude can rap.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Again, though, for me, there was nothing really special about this track. I thought that he put it together well, man. It sounded good, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, man, everybody needs to hear this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so.
Right. Okay. No doubt, man. So leading to the last track on the album, Louder. What'd you think?
Again, man, I felt like it was more of the same on this track. Good rapping. This is not at all a weak point on the album. I felt like it was a solid way to close out. It fit the vibe of the whole album, but not a standout again for me, but a decent track.
Okay. I mean, it piggybacks from the previous track, kind of paints a picture of J.I.D's past and what he overcame and how he became who he is. Also stood out to me, what he was saying, how he feels about, basically he's going to make it. He feels like he's going to be a star. I love the confidence in the kid. He sounds very passionate, and one thing about this one, he once again just proves to me he can flat out just rap. He's just rapping. The beat is kind of simple, but head nod worthy. Track had me wanting more from the album. For it to be the end of the album, it had me wanting to hear another project. So I'm definitely going to look forward to the kid. So we'll see what happens. But all in all, bro, what do you think?
All right. Now, for this, first, I would say that this was a very promising project. Being that this is the first time that I've been introduced to J.I.D as a rapper, I felt like this was a good way to start off. It's by no means a perfect project at all. I'm really interested to see where he grows to as an artist, because I think that he's got a lot of potential there. Right now, he maybe hasn't realized it. He maybe needs, I would say, he might even need to just take some time off and live a little. Just give himself a little bit more to talk about and shy away from his influences a little bit. I would like to hear him really develop his sound. I kind of wish that this wouldn't have been an album and instead would have been a mixtape to kind of save something for his debut album. They always say that your debut album is the album you've been making your whole life.
Right.
And for me, it just sounds like he hasn't lived a whole lot on this album.
Right.
So with that, again, I thought he didn't slack on the rapping. Production sounded really good.
Absolutely.
Just not a whole lot of meat on the bones for the music itself. Overall, I rated this album out at an 80. I felt like it was a really solid offering. Worth checking out. I would definitely be interested to hear what this kid does in the future, but I would like to hear him grow a little bit more.
Okay. I mean, you definitely in my notes on this one, man. I said the same thing, really. The production was definitely very good. That's the one thing that stood out to me about it. The artist, he can rap. I mean, the dude, I think he can be very talented and he can sing. I didn't expect for him to sing on the tracks that he did. The thing that stood out to me, though, like you said, the influences that he has. Like I said, it had a Kendrick vibe, had a Tribe Called Quest vibe. He definitely has listened to some good music in the past, and it comes out in his music, but it doesn't give you a good vibe on who he is as an artist. It sounds to me, and for it to not have J. Cole on the album at all, it sounds like Cole had confidence in him to just let him go. and just just give his maybe some touches on it or whatever, because you kind of can hear certain parts of it that sound Cole-ish, but that's not a bad thing at all. I think for it to be his first album, for him to be somebody that no one really knew about, did a decent job. Yeah. For it to definitely not fit the typical, singy, vibey mode of the Drake clones and thing of that nature. He definitely separated himself from a lot of them. And I think that, going forward, I definitely will look for dude in the future to be on some things. Maybe being on someone else's, like a big name artist's album and being featured on there would be a good thing for him as well, to maybe come back and listen to this project and get you ready for the next project that he's going to offer. It would definitely be a good thing. All in all, man, I think it was definitely a solid project for him, for it to be his first album. I rated it as an 82.
I feel
so I thought it was dope, man.
Now, the one thing I will say, whatever he offers up next, I do hope that he doesn't try so hard to shy away from his Atlanta roots. It felt like he was trying to work so hard to not be another Atlanta artist that he kind of fell into the trap of, sounding like trying to be so different that you end up being the same. He actually reminded me of Joey Badass Light a little bit on here.
He said that.
Yeah, he reminded me of Joey Badass Light on here.
Which is a total bad thing.
No, I mean, that's not a diss at all. Because,
bad thing.
Joey can rap. He goes. You know what I'm saying? Keep an eye out for that project dropping next month. We'll definitely be reviewing that as well.
Absolutely.
But, I would like to hear him develop his own sound a little bit. We already got Joey Badass. I don't need a second one. I don't need a light version. I don't need a junior. Give me something else. But overall, dude is dope. If you were going to be a clone of somebody, Joey's not a bad person to bite.
So finding his sound's a key for this guy, But like I said, good project, man. Give it a listen. But as we always do, man, let us know what you think. If we rated too low, too high, what'd you guys think of the project? Write it up. Let us know what you think, man. We definitely read all the comments, comment back, and all that good things. But this is Nate here.
It's Kev.
2/3 of Games Music Life, man. Drink more water, people. Peace. For rocking with us today. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to our channel and check us out in the future. You can hit the red subscribe button there to the right. As always, our podcast can be downloaded on Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, any podcast app that you want to use. Our social media information is down below. If you want to hit us up, we have our Instagram, Twitter, and Google Plus. We answer to all of them. We like to engage with everybody, so definitely feel free to hit us up. But always, give us a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down. Let us know what you think. And thanks for rocking with us today. Drink more water, people. Peace.